Good to see you today, Trevor. Glad that you're with me today to talk about a very important topic in early childhood education, big body play and its value and benefits, and how to is something that I've been exploring and want to continue to explore more. And I think it's really critical for future and current early childhood professionals to know and understand and think about. So I'm really happy to have you as our expert in big body play here with us today, for our students to benefit from listening to the experiences and thoughts and ideas and research that you've done. So welcome and thank you for joining me in this conversation today. And I would love for you to start off with an introduction of yourself. Tell us the highlights and the strengths and experiences you've had so our students can get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, absolutely. Dr. Blake, thank you for having me first and foremost. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to meet with you and your staff and more importantly, your students who are going to be doing this role in just a year or so. So that's exciting to be able to have that privilege to work with all of you today. So first and foremost, who is this guy, right? I am a preschool teacher and I love every bit about it. So that's simple, but my credentials are more broad than that. So my bachelor's is in elementary education. I taught kindergarten and first grade for a number of years, mostly kindergarten. And then I did make the switch about 8 or 9 years ago to teach preschool. And at that point, I received my graduate degree and my master's in early childhood special education. And since that point, my focus has really shifted to fostering social skills through play, regulation of emotional skills, big body play, right? Teaming and leadership within the classroom. But all of my experience is rooted in the work I see my peers doing, but also what I'm doing actively every single day. I'm on spring break right now, but every single day during the normal work week, I'm going to the classroom and I am honestly trial and erroring a lot of these strategies that I'm practicing and researching. So real advice, real lessons that are happening every single day with real kids. So I teach a half day and programs AM and PM. 40% of my children are children with special needs, and the other 60 are children from the community and poverty. And it is a fascinating place to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that view of who you are and what you do each day. And it clearly brings you so much joy and happiness working with these little guys. And I'm so glad that you have found the time to share your expertise with us in this topic. And just a fun fact for our students, I think, to sort of show the importance of engaging in professional activities. You and I met last fall at the NAEYC annual conference at a dinner that our fabulous publisher, Bookvine, publisher for children's books, put together. And we just happened to sit together at a table and get involved in, ended up a very long conversation.
Yes.
Found a way to stay in touch because we had some similar research-based and pedagogical interests. And here we are today. And I think that really speaks to the importance of those professional connections and attending professional development opportunities and conferences and lifelong learning as professionals.
I agree. And Lori, the dinner was great, but the company was better, frankly.
Agree. Definitely.
And to the point, I am a practicing early childhood teacher, right? I teach preschool every single day. I'm also a speaker, keynote speaker, and a trainer. And so I go all over the country at conferences, but also individual programs will bring me in as a coach and consultant and speaker to support their program. So I love creating these networks and these partnerships, but it happens because you're doing it and you're talking about it and you're going out into the world and expressing your opinions with others and sharing it. So I see it as a model of 360 leadership, where I am taking my information from my classroom. I'm then going out to others and providing best practices for my room and others. And then I'm also learning while I'm out there.
Yeah.
I'm having conversations with people like you, other speakers, other professionals in the field. And then I'm bringing that information right back to my room in Colorado Springs and making my room better. And so it's spiraling upwards because I feel like I'm reading and researching and practicing every single day. And I'm able to fixate on the thing that I really love to do. And so it's wonderful.
That's great. And it's just another plug for something we talk about a lot in our degree program here at Central, reflective practice, right?
Hmm.
Really good teachers engage in consistent reflective practice. We think about what we're doing. We read information to help inform us additionally, and think about how we could apply and what happens when we apply, and did it work, and did a piece work, and how do I piece together things to make it work with the children in front of me this year, which might look different next year and tomorrow, and those things. So
Could agree
um,
more.
I just think that that's all a great process of high quality educators to stand by. So let's get started, shall we? And
Yeah,
talking about
absolutely.
big body play. So, in an effort to get started, can you chat with how you define your idea of what big body play is, and how you think it is often understood or misunderstood in the general
Yeah,
profession?
absolutely. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about big body play. Big body play is active, vigorous, boisterous play where children are laughing and giggling and rolling and moving. Their bodies are sweating at times. We're getting the heart rate up. We are moving in meaningful ways. Now, that is what big body play is. The forms it takes vary across different settings. It could look like a girl simply hula hooping with a friend or hula hooping by themselves. It could be a girl or a boy trying to do a cartwheel and a bear crawl. It could be another set of friends doing planks while another friend bear crawls underneath them.
Mhm.
That could be big body play. It could be rough and tumble wrestling. Some might see that as rough housing. It could be tumbling with a peer, finding our edges, learning how to take care of our peers and our friends. So big body play can really branch a lot of different forms, but it's really anytime we're moving our bodies in meaningful ways, engaging the crossing the midline and just putting our bodies in positions to explore our boundaries, find our edges, and ideally socialize with peers. So all that can be big body play. Now, Lori, you did ask a great question of what is often misunderstood. Was that you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That was weird. Are you all right?
That is weird. Yeah. Oh, maybe my papers. Did my papers? Was it like a rustling?
Yeah, it's like a rustling noise.
Oh, it might be my papers moving, but like my sound went out for a second. That was really odd. I'm gonna tape my paper here so it doesn't do that again for
Okay,
you.
it's not making noise anymore.
Okay.
All right. So you asked a very important question. How is big body play often misunderstood?
Mhm.
It's often misunderstood because we jump to the most extreme of children wrestling and doing rough housing, or even weapon play in an area inside the classroom, and we immediately think of the worst fears. We immediately think children are going to get hurt, they're going to fall and get out of control, they're going to get too hyped, and that's not the environment I want for my friends. Now, what I would advocate for is for you to build up to that point, teach the children standards and rules about what's allowed and acceptable and what forms of play are most appropriate. And then from there, directly teach those skills. And so that way, the children, when they're independently or with a peer engaging in the most extreme types of big body play, it's safe,
Mhm.
it's regulated, and you have a plan for how to engage and control and monitor that space.
So you're saying there's different levels, if you will, of incorporating big body play into the classroom. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. There are incremental steps that you can take based on your comfort levels, um, your understanding, coworkers,
Yes.
willingness to
Parents.
engage, and those types of things, and learn as you go. So you can incrementally, and you might get to a point where you are comfortable with these pieces,
Yep.
but maybe not the end.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
here's two examples of what I'm referring to.
great?
Example one is you use big body play to help your children's transition from one part of the school day to another. We are going to the playground, and let's say it's a walk that is normally 4 minutes long because it's on the other side of school.
Sure.
Instead of the lips and hips model walking down, we're doing bunny hops, we're sidestepping, we're lunging, We might even be hopping on one foot all the way down, right?
Yes.
Controlled. Children know the expectations. It's not a novelty, it's a norm. And we're allowing that engagement of the body to keep the children focused in the hall with the end goal of getting to the playground,
Yes.
right? Scenario two, inside your classroom, you have free choice or center time set up. You have an area inside your classroom with a carpet down, maybe some padding up on the floor or on the side. And children know that that is their area where they can roll around with a friend. They can do wrestling if they would like. And they know the rules. They know it's two people, not three or four, right? They know how to read their friends' facial cues. And we're socializing just as much as we are playing. And so if all the children understand it, then it's a time and place that can be reproduced over and over and over and never get out of control because the expectations have been clearly taught for the children. Both of those, while vastly different,
Yeah.
are big body play.
Yeah. Those are wonderfully concrete examples, I think, that help to illustrate the concept of big body play to bring to life for people. So thank you for sharing those. In fact, just the other day, I was talking with our student teachers who are working with toddlers right now.
Yeah.
We were talking about that very thing, walking down the hall to get to the gym or to get outside, and having a 2-year-old who seems to always want to run away from the line, right? And kind of laughs as they run away. And we talked about what can we put in place to set up before we get in that line, before we exit the classroom to go wherever we're going next, to get the children engaged so that they're on task. They're doing something that's interesting and inviting and fun and engaging for them. And we talked about that very thing. And we were using the Ants Go Marching and the big
Yeah.
you can stop when you sing that song, right? And get on the ground because we're doing the different things and we're back up and now we're, heading out again, or taking a cardboard box and turning it into a bus, right? And climbing in and carrying our cardboard bus down as we go, right? And engaging in those fun, interactive opportunities that childhood gives us an opportunity to do, as opposed to the quiet, we're going to walk, let me just verbally tell you what to do, and then kind of wonder, how come everyone's not listening, right? Or how
Exactly.
come it's much fun?
And what you're sharing there, Lori, is that they're engaged, right? Because children have misbehavior or challenging behaviors when their brains are disengaged and they're looking for something to fill that void. So let's engage them in activities that are meaningful. Now, another example there would, if you were going from, let's say, mealtime, and now you're going to go read a story. And we're going to go read a story at the carpet. So we have to think about what's going to happen in the first minute and a half that we're at the carpet. You have all these kids coming over. What does that transition period look like? What I would advocate for is a very brief moment of big body play.
Okay.
Children's, again, it happens every day. It's routine. It's not a novelty. Children stand up. Okay, friends, we're going to do cross high fives today with a partner. Stand up. Let's do 15. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go with 15. And then always follow whatever big body play you're doing with breath work. Sit down. Now let's get our hot cocoa cups out. Blow it out. And then do a few of those, at least 3, into the nose, out the mouth, reconnects the brain, right? And now our bodies are calm again, heart rate up, great blood flow, oxygenate the brain through our breath. Hi, friends. You look like you're so ready to learn right now.
Yeah. Isn't that such a more lovely way of engaging and building relationships and enjoyment for learning with children, as opposed to, let's everyone sit down. I don't see that you're ready. I said eyes on me. You need to be paying attention. It's just such a much more wonderful way to coexist while you're co-regulating. Before I move on to the next question for you to talk about, you mentioned a couple of times about finding your edges. Can you talk just a little bit more about what you mean about that phrase?
Yeah, finding your edges. This is really important for our younger, I would say, you can say all the way up through 4 and 5, but I really think the focus here is 18 months, heck, even infants
Mhm.
up to 3 years old, right, who are socializing for the first time, of understanding of where my body ends and their body begins,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Think about two infants who are, let's say, crawling age. So let's say 6 months. They're crawling around, and we have placed them in the center of the rug, and for our tummy time. One child starts crawling to the other, right? Touches them, finds curiosity in that, and then continues that engagement. That's socialization right there.
Sure.
Now, even further than that, let's say the little girl goes on top of the boy,
Mhm.
and the boy's like, "What is this?" Right? And the girl just keeps going, but now the boy is in distress. Here's what I would advocate for. I would not advocate for the teacher to come in and take the girl off. That boy is talking, he's communicating, he's crying, telling us, I don't really like that.
Yeah.
I don't like when you do that. And the girl is like, she's seeing that and she's learning socially right now. So she either rolls off the other way or continues to roll off, and you see his communication end. So they're both learning how to take care of others in that moment, even though both of them are far from using words.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that example. I think that helps to bring that phrase, finding our edges, to life for our students so they can really envision what that looks like. I give an old movie reference when I talk about spatial awareness, because that's really sort of the area when we look at some of our
Yep.
learning standards that we're talking about. But I referenced Dirty Dancing. Um,
Yeah.
this is my
No one
dance.
puts baby in a corner.
It's your dance space. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Um, and it's a great thing to think about because it makes you sort of realize, oh yeah, that's what we mean.
Exactly.
Um,
Here's my bubble.
yeah, and that spills over into other coordinating pieces of our own lives and how we're able to carry ourselves, walk around things without bumping into everything all of the time.
Hmm.
Those skills need to be developed. And the early childhood years are great opportunities to do that. And we do that by having these big body experiences.
And you're right, Dr. Blake. And so think about, when I think about big body play, I always tend to lean on the social aspect of it. But
Mm.
it's, and maybe because I think it's so obvious that the gross motor benefits are there.
Sure.
But you're absolutely right that you're doing large movements, but developing your body from the trunk all the way out through the shoulders and the arms to actually then work on fine motor skills.
Yep.
Sometimes for 3, 4, 5-year-olds, we're so quick to give them a pen and say, go use this perfect grip and go start riding right now. And they haven't had the meaningful opportunities to develop their trunk and core and shoulders so they can actually have great posture for those things. So that is primal, and it's really important. And even in the world of iPads and electronics and screen time, a lot of children aren't getting that movement we used to have naturally to develop the core and shoulders and our gross motor skills from the inside out.
Right.
We're coming in and expecting to be able to write when actually our muscles are underdeveloped.
Extremely. Yeah. And actually, it was interesting years ago in various studies done in towns and cities across our state in Connecticut. Fine motor skills was one of the areas that kindergarten teachers found entering kindergarten students were lacking the most in,
Yep.
which is really interesting, and I think speaks to that. And I think it comes from an effort to keep children safe and to not be too loud and keep everything not chaotic. Sometimes in our efforts with the best of intentions, we forget the only way to develop certain things or to certainly develop them optimally is to have these experiences, these experiences that cross developmental domains and are integrated consistently. So that sort of leads me to the next piece of drawing from the experience and research that you've had in this area. We talked about a couple of the significant developmental pieces, but are there other big developmental gains that you feel that we haven't talked about yet that children engage from this rigorous type of big body play?
Absolutely. And so for this, I want to take more of an umbrella approach and explain how I take big body play and use that as a key factor in social
Great.
emotional regulation for my students.
Great.
So I refer to this as the body-based regulation framework. So this is the model of activate, connect, regulate. So when I see a child is dysregulated within my class or in a home, what I'm going to think about first is how can I activate their bodies in a short, meaningful way. So what I'm referring to here simply are jumping jacks, wall pushes, even squats, something that allows them, maybe something crossing the midline, something very quick that I just want, even at pushing against my own hands. Then we're going to move into the connect phase. But the reason the activate is portion is because now I'm signaling to the lower parts of their brain that this is something that feels good to me. I'm getting some energy release out. I like the way this feels, even if I'm not thinking clearly. So then we move to the connect phase. And the key here, the focus, is to demonstrate with your nonverbals or your gentle, calm demeanor and your low heart rate that you are a safe and trusted person that you can learn and regulate with, right? We're beginning the stages of co-regulation. So part of this is relationship building, and this can take a lot of different forms. You could have a simple prompt. Do you want to go wrestle? Do you want to throw the ball with me? Do you want to do hula hoops with me? Help me, or even something a little more direct. Help me roll across the floor. Help me with bear crawls. And we're doing this together. We're laughing, we're giggling, we're enjoying ourselves. And that heart rate is then moving up. The blood flow to the brain is becoming better and richer. We're often now engaged, so we're off of that dysregulated track.
Yep.
But we can't just leave them there. So activate, connect, now the regulate piece. This is when we're going to hit really heavy breath work as we co-regulate with the child. So again, into the nose, out through the mouth is really important to reconnect all the parts of our brain. And then once we're doing that, we see the child relax. Maybe here we're laying next to them in a cozy corner. Maybe they're in a pea pod boat. Maybe it's a dark place with gentle music playing in the background. We're cueing or breathing with them until we get to the point of, hey, it's good to see you again. You look so ready to go play. Can I help you find a place to play? If not, when you're ready, I'm ready. Proud of you, right? And making that gentle connection with them in really meaningful ways. And now that child is regulated again. And if it happens late in the day, we go through that same cycle again. Activate, connect, regulate. So big body play becomes a component of how I can activate and connect with the child.
That's great. You speak so clearly about how big body play can help children build different developmental skills that it makes me wonder if teachers, educators were going to get into some of the more extensive, rigorous levels of big body play, how they would think about or anticipate some of the risks that might be involved in doing so. What advice or ideas do you have for teachers who have some of those concerns or wonder, okay, I get the why, I can make those developmental connections, but how do I do the how?
Sure, absolutely. So one more piece on the why, because this leads in, it will give you more satisfaction and purpose to allow, and that's a key word, you're a gatekeeper as a teacher, to allow the most extreme, rough and tumble, rigorous wrestling type of play inside your classroom, not out. This isn't recess. Right. You can certainly do big body play outside, but I'm talking in the classroom as a meaningful opportunity for the children. It's the social piece. When you have two children playing together, they have to take care of each other. They have to be able to read facial cues, and that can be taught, right? We can support that. We can mitigate it. We can scaffold and co-teach and help children recognize the facial cues, the sounds of their others, because you have to learn to be a good play partner. Because in rough and tumble play, the play doesn't end truly because the teacher says, no, we're not doing that here. The play actually ends when the other friend gets hurt, feels uncomfortable, doesn't feel like they get a turn to do the cool thing. It's no longer fun for the other person. And so there's not going to be a second, third time of this big body play and happening in the class because the other child doesn't want to. So you have to be a good play partner and turn take in order for the play to continue, right? Because it's going to be rigorous, but you have to say, hey, this time you get to be on top. This time I'm going to try that. Your turn to build. I like how we're trying this together. You push the ball. No, you throw the ball first. And then from there, pausing, checking in. Are you okay? Do you want to keep going? Sure. This is awesome. As adults, this is really, really important. Because if, Lori, you and I are in a conversation and I'm mean to you, I get really close, I push you, I use a really loud voice, you're not gonna want to talk to me anymore, because I didn't take care of you socially. I didn't understand how you were as a person and your needs. But we can directly give kids opportunity to learn those skills by allowing big body play to be in the class and an active part of the education experience. So
Yeah.
there you go. So that's one piece of the why. Now let's start with those teachers who are more reserved. Men, like myself, typically, not to overgeneralize, are more likely to do big body play. What's the problem there? There's only 3% of the workforce are men. So 97% of the classrooms are going to be people who are adverse to rough and tumble wrestling type of play. Often because in their own childhoods, they didn't have the meaningful rough and tumble experiences with their brothers or sisters or friends. That's just the way a lot of our society works.
I was just going to agree with you and share that I've seen that not only in programs, but in families, right? With friends and people that I know. And we talk about this in our classes, particularly in our anti-bias class, right? So this context crosses so many different courses that we have here at Central for our early childhood students: physical development, social emotional development, anti-bias, especially in the form of gender bias, pedagogical curriculum development, so many different environment setup, so many different things, right? As early childhood education often does. But many of us can relate to just our reactions to the different genders, right? Hugging girls when they cry because we want to comfort them, but telling boys, we have to be brave, you're fine, dust it off, right?
Yep.
When boys are out on the playground, you made it up to the firefighter's pole, come on down, you can do this on your own, and telling girls, wait, hold on, let me get there, let me spot you, let me help you. Are you sure you want to go up that high, right? And in many ways, it's our unintended, unconscious societal influences coming out in those gender biases that I think play into this. And then those younger girls turn into young women and then adults who may become early childhood professionals who are now in classrooms mirroring those biases and stereotypes. And so you can kind of see, I think that's important to think about, because it's important to know the trajectory of how we got here and what are some of those typical phrases and interactions that we use without even thinking about them every day as a result.
I couldn't agree more with you. I seriously could not agree more with you. And I didn't understand that several years ago when I was like, guys, why just go wrestle your kids? It's not a big deal. Let them jump. Let them get to the top of the tower. If they climbed up, they can get back down. Right. But that was my bias, how I grew up. Right. And so that I started wrestling when I was in the 5th grade, and I was a wrestling coach for many years. So that is extremely comfortable for me. I know the limits of a human body, but that's my understanding. So unless you're coming in with the exact background as me, it's not the same. So what you need to think about is, how can we build up to this? How can we start with walking through the hall using ants go walking, right? How can we use big body play during our transition moments to the carpet like we discussed? How can we use big body play as an activate or connect element in our activate, connect, regulate cycle? Then from there, it's about, okay, I've noticed that these 3 or 4 boys or girls really love this. Let me see if I can't turn the carpet space for 5 minutes into a spot where they can wrestle where they can rough and tumble. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to watch, and I'm going to be monitoring so I know that they are safe. And I'm not going to allow them to be in the area unless I'm there. That is how we start. Pretty soon you get really comfortable and you're like, okay, I know these kids are safe. I've seen them do it 15 times. I can walk away and I actively monitor from a distance, listening for sound cues and understand that these boys know the rules and how to take care of each other. So I think we have to start there at a place that feels really comfortable and grow to a position that allows you to give the kids more independence and truly more big body play freedom.
It's really, really interesting. And it makes me think about, again, now I'm on the gender.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. There's science behind it.
There is. And looking at our typical course of the day in our public school education in this country is built in a gender biased way. And again, there's research and data that indicates as such that the typical days are geared towards the way girls might be more inclined to naturally develop and not boys. And what does that mean for boys' involvement in education and learning of skills and learning how to deal and handle things socially and emotionally in order to become emotionally competent, respectful individuals that
I think you're absolutely right.
we didn't want them to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really interesting point, saying that it is geared to how a female educator was raised and how they prefer the school day to be. Typically speaking, calmer, quieter, more order.
Yeah.
Right? That is, boys and girls both use big body play.
Right.
Boys tend to use the wrestling and ruffle tumble play at a higher rate than the girls, but they both participate. Male educators tend to be more comfortable, right, with big body play. Dads at home connect best through big body play typically, right? So all these things are really important. Now, if you were to walk into my classroom, Dr. Blake, and I am 15 minutes into center time, you would hear noise.
Nice.
I said it out loud. You're gonna hear noise. You're going to see the part of my room that has been designed to be energetic and loud, that is separate from the part of my room that's designed to be calm and solitary, where they can regulate calmer independently. They're separated, but you're going to see kids in dramatic play in the kitchen with the costumes on, working through. You're going to see kids in the sensory tables. You're going to see guys working together and gals working together in the block center. But you're also going to see an area set up with a 9x11 rug and a pad underneath, where you're going to see kids wrestling. And you're going to hear the laughter before you see it. You're not going to see them running around the room, because that's not part of our expectations and our rules. They've been clearly taught what's expected, but you're going to see that. Now, when the play needs to be reset, I help them reset it. I help them make sure that they're monitoring and keeping their friends safe. I'm actively teaching. I'm not stopping the play when it gets too rowdy. I'm reteaching, explaining, and then allowing them to continue in a safe way, right? So you're going to see all these things. Now those children have opportunities to regulate and enjoy and move and socialize in ways that are really impactful for them, that they're simply, on most cases, are not going to get in K-1-2.
Right. Because the nature of the classrooms just change in ways that's typically not seen.
Yep.
So many connections. It's almost hard to stay focused on one particular area, because there are so many connections in so many different ways. And I keep wanting to say, hold up, tell me why and tell me how. Hold up, tell me why and tell me how. But I think we've actually kind of talked a little bit about, we've talked about gender and societal expectations and how they may come into play. Have you encountered how cultural expectations and norms have come into play regarding big body play?
Yeah, I think so. So to give some background, the school that I work at is a high Hispanic population. I have so you have a culture of race, right? Mm-hmm. But I experience a lot of culture of poverty.
Okay.
right? Because there's a high impoverished area, a lot of gun violence per capita in my zip code of where school or children work or children play at. So there's those two factors that are really, really powerful. So oftentimes these children are not the first. Okay, I want to say this really carefully because I think all families, my belief is all families love their children, but
Sure.
not all families have the opportunity to dedicate one-on-one time on a consistent basis with their families. So I have families who are children are coming in
That crosses
starved for.
economics, right?
Was that?
That crosses economics. That crosses towns and cities and states.
Yes,
I think that's a
it,
fair,
it, it,
accurate
it really
statement.
does. So you have some children who are coming in with trauma. And I would say almost all children are coming in with trauma. So first we have to make sure it's a psychologically safe place for them to learn and feel comfortable. And they're going to be willing to take risks, right? Risk taking is huge for these children because first they have to know that I'm not going to get screamed at. I'm not going to get hit. I'm not going to be punished for taking a risk, tripping or falling or interacting with my peers. Right. So that's really important to understand. I'm seeing slightly smaller family sizes recently. So there are children who are coming in with lower social skills because they are not having the opportunity on a regular basis to
Yeah.
interact with their brothers, sisters, cousins. Right. And the iPad's becoming a babysitter, right? Which kind of stinks, but it's the reality of the world we live in. So we have children who are starving for meaningful moments to connect. And if I don't offer big body play in my classroom, particularly the social kind where they're interacting with another peer, whether it's building a blocks together or hula hooping or jumping together and taking a risk, see who could jump the furthest, then the kids aren't going to have that experience. They're going to leave my classroom, go home, engage with the iPad families, probably an isolated type social or solo type play. And that cycle is going to happen all day long without really meaningful opportunities for big body play that's so impactful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope I answered your question correctly.
I think you did. And I think it helps us to remind ourselves that when the children come into our classrooms, they're coming in as whole beings with a variety of different experiences and knowledge. I've written about funds of knowledge from families, right?
Yep.
And learning from families about their familial culture as well as their ethnic culture and their
Yep.
neighborhood culture, right? And it's all related and distinctly different. And no two children will come from exactly the same combination of those experiences, right? But they're all important. And I think you speak to the importance of knowing your children, knowing your children's families, communicating consistently and regularly with them, and building relationships,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And
Comes down to.
the, the children that I find have the hardest time with me as a person are young girls who have been raised by mom, maybe they're single moms, who are then also raised by grandma, right? Because they have a generation of multi-generation approach that women are caretakers, women are caregivers, they are the ones who can provide and take care and educate and teach. Then I show up when they're 3 years old and they're going,
Who are you?
and you are who again? What is going on here? Right.
Right.
So it takes time to break down those walls. I often have to go slower and at a distance with these young ladies and just show them that I can be safe and loving and trusting because oftentimes their perception of what men are not positive, frankly. So I have to be the person to show them that men can be safe and trusted and vulnerable. And then they're often the last type of child to engage with me in big body play, right? Because it takes time to build that trust. And I'm not going to put them in a situation prematurely where they feel vulnerable, where they feel like they can't trust the person who's working with them. And I have to start in really, really meaningful ways. And sometimes it's as simple as a high five and
Yeah.
giggling. It
Yeah.
could be that simple.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I like how we've circled back to not everything has to be this big grand gesture. Just moving our bodies, in a holistic way, coming back to that breath,
Yep.
that internal sort of stimulation, those nerve endings being activated and fired, that can look very individual. It can look like peer related. It can look like a lot of different things. And I think that feels like a probably a safer, more comfortable perspective thinking about this, especially from someone getting started or who hasn't engaged in the grandeur of the big body play, before, but that there are those other levels that are still really important to engage in. So I love how we've come back to that full circle, because big body play is for everyone. How
Yes.
you do it is what varies. Um, so, can you share a memorable story from your work where allowing this type of play has led to you having a breakthrough moment with a particular child or group of children in your class?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's be honest. That's the best part, right? Because if you're not working for a breakthrough moment, then what are you doing? Right? As teachers, our goal is to teach and improve and build up, right? So we have to try strategies, work on different things, try different things, watch them fail, but then retool until they work and work and work little by little. And so when that breakthrough moment happens, learning is happening, which I think is the best possible scenario, right? So big body play. I got a guy. Let's call him Jay. How about that?
Okay.
I want to use his name because he's a wonderful boy, but I'll call him Jay. So Jay is a 4-year-old boy. He had autism spectrum. He was on autism spectrum disorder. Um, Almost nonverbal. Had like maybe 2 or 3 word pop outs. Really most often 1 or 2 word pop outs. But he
Okay.
was always watching. So we're in center time one day, and I have the area set up, and now we're a couple months into school trying to support his ability to socialize, his ability to use language, and follow 1 or 2 step directions. Those are some of his special education goals.
Sure.
And I'm monitoring the room, and in the library section of the room, when kind of near our Play-Doh, where it's meant to be a little more solo, um, calm area, he's doing cartwheels, and I'm like, Bud, in my mind. I'm thinking, Bud, no, 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 that's not quite right, right? So, how do I engage with him in that moment? The way I engage with him was pretty simple. I walk up slowly, I get down on my level, and I go, "You look like you're having a lot of fun. This isn't the place to do the cartwheels. Would you like to go to the Big Body Play Center and maybe do some wrestling or play?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah, let's go." So, hand in hand, walk on over, and him and I immediately start tumbling. Like where he's doing a roll, I'm trying to. His mine looks like more of a sausage dog going down. I'm trying, right? Then it turns into a game of tag back and forth on our knees, so in this small confined space. And I'm saying things like "gonna get you, gonna get you," and I would get close and I'd kind of jump at him, and then he would do that to me, and we did that several times until a little girl named Lily looked over and was like, "That looks like a lot of fun. I recognize this." Lily comes over and taps Josiah and says, or taps Jay and says, "Can I play?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they started mimicking the same play that him and I were doing,
Yeah.
right? Up to the point where they become separated. He's about to jump like I had just done. He pauses, jumps, lands about 3 inches from her, and then rolls to the left. Never actually touched her.
Hmm.
Pauses, looks at her from like a prone position, and says, "You okay? You
Wow.
okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he says, "Play." And they kept going. So we took that moment that could have been disastrous. It could have been, "Jay, knock it off. Go
Right.
to the blocks. I'm done with this. I've seen this for the 5th time today. Knock it off." Into a moment where he learned how to socialize. And I would argue, created a friend that day.
Right. And probably would not have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the biggest social connection to that point that you had seen him make?
Absolutely. He would do a lot of parallel play. He
Yeah.
would come up and look. and like try to almost grab with things, the toys someone else had. He was attempting. You could saw there were signs there, but this really was our breakthrough moment. And other friends noticed this, and so other friends over the next several days and weeks would find him because they saw him as a really good play partner, and they would guide him to places.
What a confidence booster.
Mm-hmm.
What a way to send the message without having to say the words that you belong here. You
Yep.
belong in this classroom. We want you in this classroom. You have value.
So with that I believe that exact same day, or it might have been in the coming days, we were at second circle after centers, and I called it out right in front of all the children and our staff. I said, guys, did you see the way Jay played today? He was being such a good friend. He was joyful and laughing, and he was keeping all of us safe. How cool is that? Let's go. Let's go. And they loved it. And we had other friends call him out too, say, I loved playing with him today. But you're right, community.
It's amazing. How do you see? So, I think we've made the case that big body play can have a big impact on young children's development across developmental domains.
Yes.
Right? We talked about social, certainly, emotional, cognitive, physical, just to name a few. Do you see it impacting children as they grow and having an effect on them sort of, I'll say long term, once they're out of our early ed environments?
Sure, absolutely. So first, let's start at a very basic level. Physically, you see their ability to use gross motor skills drastically improve because we're giving them opportunities to actually move in meaningful ways, right? So quads, trunks, cores are really important. Really think of your 18-month-year-old, right? And the whole purpose of tummy time, even as a 6-month, 10-month, is actually to build the core, build the neck, and build that. Right. So even playing games like horsey, where you take an infant and you put on your knee and you kind of bounce up and down, that's actually strengthening and developing and working. So from the aspect of we're building from the inside out, it's been absolutely tremendous. Then you see their ability to take risks increase, right? They're more willing to take a risk because they're not worried about the failure. It's okay, I'll try a different way. Let's say they're trying to build a big stack of blocks and one friend has to lean against another friend to get it just right. That's big body play, right? Did anyone wrestle? No. But we're using our bodies in meaningful ways, even if we're stepping on other blocks to get there,
Yep.
right? We're taking risks. That's going to lead to academic skills within K1, 2, 3, where I'm willing to try this in a different way. I'm willing to take a risk to learn this new skill, which I think is really, really valuable. Then I also think socially, you see peers able to interact with others in really purposeful ways that are not destructive, and they're not putting yourself down or your friends down, and they understand that there's a give and take, taking care of my partner here. So group activities just go through the roof. And I think the most important piece is their internal monologue becomes better, right? Yeah. It goes from, I can't do this, there's no way, I'm not even trying to, I can do this. I'm okay. I know how to breathe. I've looked in my own classroom and I've seen children by themselves go, I can do this, right? Because we're directly teaching them. Now they've internalized it. And so they're regulating themselves. And that in itself, you can do anything once you're regulated. So big body play, baby. Let's go.
Huge. That self-regulation metacognitive thoughts is so critical, right? So all of those pieces. My research began in self-regulation with looking at how it compares with college and career readiness, which is sort of a funny thing to think about when you're thinking about infants, toddlers, preschoolers. But it's about shaping humans and our brains and our regulatory systems to become the adults that we will become, right?
Yes.
And in our college research, the literature is clear that students who can solve problems flexibly, think about things from multiple perspectives, break down tasks, right? Reduces anxiety.
Yes.
We can see the individual tasks and I can persevere and create those goals and stick to it. I can communicate those thoughts and ideas. Um, Persist to graduation in a 4-year time frame at a
Hmm.
greater rate than those who have difficulty with it, and tend to have higher GPAs, which enables them to more readily and easily go on to graduate school. And what do we know about that in society? Typically, college educated folks and then with graduate degrees opens up your marketability for different career potential, which directly impacts your earning potential, which directly impacts your societal, right? All of these different pieces. So it's really, I argue that self-regulation building is an aspect of equity that I don't think we talk about connected to that enough. And it seems to me, from not only from my experiences with big body play, but hearing you talk about it in these multiple ways, that big body play can and should be a big piece of that, that we need to at least consider in some way. So, as we start to wrap up this conversation, if you had a quick 1, 2, and 3 to offer to future early childhood professionals, or any early childhood professional that might currently be working, you want to start to do some of this. You're unsure about the big stuff, but you kind of want to do something. What's your 1, 2, or 3? Here's how you get started.
Start. Number one, start. Start at the level you feel most comfortable with. If that is marching down the hallway, do it. Where I think you're likely going to start is a big body play movement for in class from a transitional moment, during the transitional moment, to a place where everyone is seated. That's going to be your number one quick win right there, right? No judgment, no outside classrooms, no one saying, why is this teacher so noisy? Why does this teacher look goofy in the hallway? You don't have any judgment, but your children will be regulated. Then once the children show you the joy, start growing from there, right?
Yep.
Right? Just be yourself, let it grow from there. Number 2 is you're going to have question marks come up from parents, directors, other teachers. Understand that the purpose behind this is to help children grow physically, which then leads to fine motor skills, socially, which help leads to more confidence and risk taking and being a better play partner. And we can do all of these things while keeping kids safe and help them grow meaningfully within the educational environment. And then the third is be a play partner and have fun. Dance with them during the transition, march with them in the hallway, and by gosh, get on the floor with them, rough and tumble, wrestle with them, and you'll see the benefits stack right away because your relationships with these kids are going to grow.
Which is, if we do nothing else, let's build wonderfully positive relationships with children.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
So, well, Mr. Trevor Newton, thank you so much for joining me today for this fabulous conversation. I know that our students at Central Connecticut State University are going to get a lot out of watching this, and it will help bring the content of our readings to life, for them and give them some great ideas and things to consider. So thank you so much. And I'm excited for our next conversations in the future.
Absolutely. Dr. Blake, absolute pleasure. Love your insights. I love how we pushed each other during this conversation and just can't wait to continue to be a resource for all your students. Students, reach out, right, to my Dr. Blake or myself. It's the network you build at this time you're going to lean on when you're a teacher, okay?
Absolutely.
Reach out, social media, email, phone, give me a call, right? I'm in the forest with you. So is Dr. Blake. We're on the same path. In this case, we happen to be a little bit further down the trail. We know where the potholes are. Yeah. Other times, pretty soon, we're going to be learning from each of you.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be in the forest together with our goal of giving children the best start in life.
And how do they find you on social, or do you have a website if they wanted to?
Yeah, so website is trevortnewton.com. We can learn about my offerings and how to support and even some big body play resources. On social media, trevortnewton.ece on Instagram and Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn as well. I love early childhood, guys. So I love to just post things about early childhood. often quick tips for parents and other teachers. This is what I do. I get to be a husband and a dad and a teacher. I mean,
Life is
YOLO. Living my best life over here. I mean, Lord, I got a mug with my name on it. Do you
oh,
like?
that's so great.
You know how cool that is? We gifted that. I mean, I get custom shirts that say ABCD preschool teachers rock. I mean, being an early child teacher is incredible. You just have to let the joy be there. There's going to be stress and there's going to be things. There's going to be all these factors on top of you. Just breathe through it. You're going to be okay. Reach out to the people who you support. Have event sesh. Have a way to regulate. Have a way to get better. And then from there, go back and just love on the kids. Because when you're having a tough moment, use big body play to regulate your body as well, right? There's nothing better to get you out of a rut than get on the floor with the kids and ruffle and I would say ruffle their feathers, but wrestle along with them, let the giggles happen, and you're going to see, like, after 3 or 4 minutes, man, it feels lighter in here. It feels better. I'm ready for a really great day, and I know all of you are ready for a great day.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is fun. Till next time, okay?
Till next time.